Am I doing it?
Has the button been pushed? Has it? I don't know.
Do I do it?
You can do it. The countdown went. Beep.
The button? You can't fucking beat me, bro. That fucked up. That fucked me up hardcore.
Sorry. All right.
Boop. The button has been pushed. Hello and welcome. 93.7 FM. We're here live with Shay and Kodi.
Technically, it's not live when you listen to it, but it is close enough.
We're here live. Like, this is live, right? We're not putting... If you subscribe to our Patreon, then you can get to watch the recordings live.
Yeah, we'll be running a Discord chat and answering questions from the fans.
I don't know if you guys have an extra $3.33 a month to subscribe to our Patreon account, but then you can see these things actually live, and then it'd be even cooler because you can hear inappropriate shit like what we're going to talk about. Okay, so Karen haircut. You weren't here last week.
I was not. It was a good episode, though.
No, oh, thanks. Big help. Where were you? All right, and here we are with this week's guest. We could not be happier than to introduce two of the lovely ladies from an incredible nonprofit organization in our scene that we felt more people needed to learn more about, figure out what's the reason for this. And so their organization is called Healing the Herd. We have Jillian and Jillian with us. Shay, let's give them a round of applause. Thank you, ladies.
Thank you for taking the time to talk to us tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the first thing, and this is like what I always try to tell people, is like, we have such a short attention span. So like, quick, you have 7 seconds. What the fuck am I trying to understand? What's Healing the Herd?
Okay, so it's a nonprofit for harm reduction, and we give people education to raise awareness on the overdose, on the rates in the music community and also in America, and raise just education for people to learn how to test what they're taking. We don't really condone it, but people are going to use no matter what. So we want people to have the resources available to learn how to do it safely.
For sure. And that's actually how we met, right, Jillian? Was I was on Fish Lot. Shay, you were there. You were probably just late.
Was this when we were doing interviews? Because
when we were doing interviews.
Yeah. Well, remember, I left. I had to leave a couple hours before.
You had a wedding.
Yeah, I went to a wedding of one of my oldest friends. I'm so sorry, Kodi.
God, friendships other than me.
I know it's
don't
the worst.
Matter, okay. But so what happened was surprise, surprise. I was walking the poster line, and I'm pretty sure that I got to the front. I was bullshitting with some of the gatekeepers of the fish tour and all the nonsense that came with that. And then I ran into Jillian, and she literally had like her arms full of shit. And she's like, "Oh my God." And you recognized me. And we had a great conversation. And I was like, this is fucking awesome. So Jillian, Shay, is actually the one that gave me all the Narcan and testing strips that we have been giving out when we've been doing the live podcast.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so Jillian, that was it, right? We were at Fish, and what the hell were you doing?
I think it was Billy. It was at Renewal when I met you, wasn't it? I'm not. Okay, so I was in line. Well, we do go around to different lots, and a lot of
fucked up the story, Shay.
We'll have. I'm pretty.
I mean,
sure
my expectations are low, Kodi. It's okay.
Whoa, wait, hold on. You're saying I met more than one person? Fuck off. Okay, I'm sorry, Jillian. All right.
Fish too.
Billy, okay, but if it wasn't that, damn it. Okay. So Billy Renewal this year, right?
Right, but we do go to Fish, so maybe originally I meet you.
Wait, but that would make no sense. Why the hell would I meet Healing the Herd at Fish, Shay? It was all those free Breckenridge beers. Like this is a bluegrass, so this is a bluegrass community, right?
Well,
we're at Fish. We do go to Fish. Yep.
Yeah, because all those dirty fucking hippies. God damn it. Get your shit together, Fish kids. No, I'm kidding. That's just a long-standing joke that I'm a jerk to Fish kids. Okay, so let's back this up. So I totally fucked up the origination of meeting Jillian, but we will make it okay. Because the importance is still what's there. So you guys are out trying to help people in the scene because, like you're saying, you're not advocating it. for it. You're not saying, oh, people, hey, here's your drugs. But what you are saying is, if you happen to be participating in some of those activities, do it in a safe manner, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is huge for people, especially like if you don't know someone directly who has been impacted by fentanyl or an overdose or addiction, then someone you know most definitely has.
100%, especially in the last few years. Like it's gotten bad.
It is crazy. And so I applaud what you guys are doing. So what is Healing the Herd? You guys are giving out Narcan? Are you giving out testing strips? Talk about a little bit about the community, what you guys are doing.
So we are giving away Narcan for free, teaching people how to use the Narcan, educating them on how to recognize for someone having an overdose and, calling 911, taking the nasal and administering it if they are unresponsive and they don't have a pulse. And then if someone knows CPR, to flag them and help give rescue breaths. We make lanyards with 2 doses of Narcan on them and a CPR face mask. So it's easy for people to bring into concerts with them. It's just easier than a box of Narcan. And then also, we give away fentanyl test strips, and we've had the xylazine test strips because that's also an issue as well. And morning after pills and condoms, and educating people just to be safer and make better choices. And actually, at Fish Mondegreen, they had the morning after pills at the general store for like $80, what our friend said. So it's really nice to be able to have access to this and help raise awareness in multiple different music communities and just like the overall music scene, I guess, that, to be able to give back and help people.
That's awesome.
I have a question. So, and you had mentioned how in the general store, the morning after pills, $80 a piece. I know, I'm not an expert on this, but I'm aware that like if you go to buy Narcan at a pharmacy or something, it's not cheap. It's what, 40, 50 bucks
like
a dose?
$45.
So,
yeah.
And I'm curious, can you talk a little bit about where you're sourcing this stuff? And are you working with other nonprofits? Are they donated? Do you guys have to pay out of pocket for this? Because I want to stress this, like handing out, like it's cool when you go to a festival and you see people handing out Narcan. And I've personally talked to people who assume it must just be a cheap, free thing. And it's not. So like
it's a $50 bill.
Yeah, it's available over the counter, but not necessarily everybody has $50 or $100 to buy a couple extra Narcans to just keep on them just in case. So I'd love to know how you guys source that, that large of amount to just give away to people.
So we've been working with health departments and other nonprofits. When we originally started, we were calling different harm reduction organizations in the towns that Billy would go through. A couple times their volunteers came out to the lot if we weren't able to be there. That was like how it all formed. But also, yeah, we really do get the Narcan donated to us, and we go to different health departments in different places depending on where we are because our board members live across the country. So we've had help from Connecticut, from Illinois, from Indiana, also Colorado, California. Some states are harder to get, but yeah.
It's
and
awesome.
Texas, lots of help in Texas.
Lots of help in Texas.
Yeah,
there's a ton of follow-up questions I want to ask, but first I want to learn, how was Healing the Herd created?
Okay, so this is a story where there was on November 9th in 22 on Fall Tour, there was someone who overdosed at the show, a suspected overdose. It was in like the pit area, and he got taken out, and I heard through a friend, and I was just really upset because we had just lost one of our best friends who relapsed like the year before. So it kind of triggered me, and I'm a nurse, so I'm like, I can either sit and cry about this or I could like do something and try to figure out a plan to try to help. So my friend was on the phone with Billy's mom, Deb, and she was upset too. And we were like, well, should we try to do something? And she kind of gave the, yeah, go ahead, help the community. So then we formed, I have a family friend who's a lawyer for nonprofits, and I was talking to my friend who's his son about, because he lost his wife to overdose, and I was like, do you think your dad would help? So his dad has been helping us he helped us get our licensure and helps us with a lot of questions. If we have, we could call him if we need to. He's been really helpful. So his name's James Stola. So he has helped us apply and everything. And then, yeah, and then we just kind of went around to as many shows as we can and festivals. We've done a couple, like 3 major festivals last summer. And then we had set up in other festivals, campgrounds, just where some of our members had traveled and were going already. So we get the supplies to them and have them, set up if they want. So that's kind of how it started. And then, yeah, it really took off quick. It was a lot of behind the scenes work. But it's been
Jilly,
really,
what had your role been in? How long have you been with Healing the Herd?
so like,
Oh, no, not Jillian, Jilly. Sorry, Jillian.
it's okay.
Confusing. Actually, I came upon Healing the Herd as being part of the music community, and I was actually at a Billy show. I obtained some Narcan from a Healing the Herd member in Cincinnati. So I had that on me. And then I was theater in Los Angeles at a Billy show and actually had to administer it to someone. So I shared my story on Facebook to the music community that I had to use my Narcan, and then Healing the Herd reached out to me to ask if I could with the mission.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So do you have medical experience? Because Jillian, you said you are a nurse, correct?
Yeah, I am. I'm a nurse. We have 3 nurses that help, as well as some social workers and teachers and a librarian as well.
That's awesome. Jillian, do you have, or Jilly, sorry, do you have experience? Or
I
so
was
then
I just
how did you have the Narcan to administer it? Sorry, not to like dig into this, but
Oh, it's okay. This is why I'm here. Because I had obtained Narcan from another Healing the Herd member at a different show, and I had actually first was the Ohana Fest in California, and festival organization actually came out on stage to be able to tell the entire audience that there was a harm reduction support nonprofit at that festival. And if anyone wanted Narcan or to be trained how to do it, to go over to that booth. So my husband and I went over to that booth, learned how to administer, had Narcan, but also then was at a different show and didn't have my Narcan and was handed new Narcan from a Healing the Herd member that I just kept in my show bag. And that's how I was able to have that. I was just the average concert goer that happened to have it and was in earshot of someone needing it.
that's crazy. So Jillian, can we talk to you a little bit as like that average concert goer? Not you, Jilly, because I want the nurses, and sorry, that's why we're gonna go back and forth.
Okay.
But I'm gonna bounce between the both of you. But
Yeah,
Jillian, as a medical professional, can you explain it to the common concert goer? Like Narcan is only used for opiates, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
can you talk about some of the signs and what people are looking for? And then Jilly, you can tell us about what that experience was like and how you actually had to administer it. But at least that way, then the audience can kind of know, like, hey, here's the situation. Because for people that have been on the scene long enough or see, like, yes, there are different choices that people make, and some of those choices are a lot harder and have more harm or risk factors to them, and this is one of them. So this is just for opiates, correct, Jillian?
Yeah, it is. And really, it's, people are trying things like cocaine or ecstasy, and there could be fentanyl in it. So a lot of times when people are, partaking in these things that they're not even trying to take the opiates, or there've also been in black market Xanax as well. People have had fentanyl, in that as well. So I think a lot of the times people are not even suspecting that they're taking opioids, that they're just
So fentanyl is a strong opiate that
right.
people are putting in other drugs that some of the users may not realize is being put in there. So for the people that are going, "Oh, well, I don't use opiates, then I don't need to worry about this." What
Yeah.
you're saying is that couldn't be farther from the truth, because sometimes these drugs are being mixed with this fentanyl and it's clearly being a problem, correct?
And it doesn't take a lot, does it? It's a very,
Right.
very concentrated, potent opiate. So
And so we always say, like, getting the Narcan, you're not going to use it on yourself. You can't use it on yourself because you are unconscious. So like I think that's the whole part of the stigma is people are so worried like to have it because they think that other people will think that they do opiates, and it's like, well, you can't Narcan yourself, so it's just to help other people.
Well, and I would actually like to talk to you guys about that, because I will tell you that I have a huge grocery bag full of Narcan and testing strips. And
Okay.
the security at the shows that I have brought them to are fucking assholes about it.
Oh, really?
They are not accepting. They're like, "Why do you have this?" And I'm like, "I just want to give it to the people who may want it, to
Right.
have that option to have it."
Yeah.
Right? And I think that stigma is a real thing, because then they think, well, oh, if this is allowed, then we're kind of saying that these other things are allowed. But I think that's this misconception, and that's what I was really excited to talk to you guys about, is because fentanyl can be in almost anything. It can be
Right.
in almost anything. And like Shay was saying, it's such a small, minute amount that needs to be in something that can impact someone. And that's when, okay, when I'm asked out, I can't take this and do it to myself, right? So, Jilly, can you talk to us a little bit about what it was like for your experience to administer it onto someone? Because it's like a nasal spray, right? Like an allergy nasal spray. The ones that I have, at least, are.
Yes, it's a nasal spray. I was an earshot of someone calling that they needed Narcan. The person that quoted was actually a nurse who was also in attendance at the concert, but she did not have Narcan on her, so she yelled for it. By the time I got to the person was on the ground, unresponsive. That this nurse had checked for a pulse, had checked for breathing. The person was not breathing nor had a pulse. And so I ripped open the Narcan, actually handed it to her since I knew she was a nurse. That was just going to be the best bet. But I watched the whole thing happen. He down, simply turned his head to the side, administered the nasal spray. So it's just it's just like how you would take your Afrin or whatever kind of nasal spray that there is. And the person immediately, it was like a Pulp Fiction moment. The person just came
So is
right.
that what happens, Jillian? So like when
it's
you're
usually pretty quick, is my understanding. Like
well, no,
it's a
even for like
very
the overdose, right? Because like so
yeah.
many of us, like we haven't been privy to it in real life, right? So like seeing that, and like that's exactly what she said, like Pulp Fiction. It's like, okay, yeah, we've all seen that, right? Like we all know that. But like, what are the signs of an overdose? Like, what should people be looking for? And then like, what is that response like after it's been administered?
Yeah, the signs of overdose are like pinpoint pupils, sometimes sweating, like fading out, closing the eyes and like really like fading out, sometimes falling down, and it's always like check for a pulse, check if they're breathing. And the thing about even if it's not an overdose and they had a heart attack, The Narcan isn't going to hurt them. So the Narcan only reverses the opioid from being on the receptors in the brain. So it blocks that receptor. So it won't hurt them if they're not on opiates, and
So
even
is
if
that why it was like a Pulp Fiction moment where it just like literally like disconnects that connection and then like
right, it
snaps
just
them back into reality?
right. Yeah, but sometimes the fentanyl levels are very high and that they might need more than one dose, and that's like after 3 minutes. So you would wait for 3 minutes and you could do rescue breathing. If you're trained, we put on CPR face masks on the lanyards so they're available. And then sometimes you have to administer the second dose. We always recommend someone like holding the patient's head, or the good Samaritan holding the person's head. I guess it's not a patient if it's at a festival or like, a
And
show,
is
but
there a proper way they should be doing that? Having the head tilted, turned at a
kind
certain angle?
turned, so it's called a semi-Fowler's position, and it'd be like on their left side with their right knee bent so they don't roll on their back in case they vomit. That's why we give the CPR face mask, because the patient might vomit. And then if
Oh
they're on
my fucking
side,
god! I just had the worst visual and like sensory of like helping some poor person and then just all over you like, oh my god.
yeah,
And that is why our medical professionals do not get enough kudos, right? Because, like, holy shit.
yeah.
And Jillian's prepared for that, right? But so what happens, like, it breaks that sense and they, like, snap back into reality and then are they like, oh man, you fucking killed my high. Like, I'm sure that there are some very weird instances when they, like, snap too, right?
I bet.
I think I'm told that some people can be angry, some people are confused. It depends on the levels of things. Situation, the person was just died. I mean, staring straight. And I had called. You always call 911 if you have had to administer, or call the medics. Someone had called the medics immediately before I even got to this person with the Narcan. But by the time the medics
And
got
was
there,
that
he was
like
already.
asking for a medic at a show?
Mhm.
Okay, to be like, how the hell do you even do that in like a large
Because to be clear, the story you told earlier was during a concert, correct?
It
Like
was
the
during
show's
the show.
going on, everybody's
Yes.
having a good time.
She said some Billy show. Was it in California?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so like, okay, sorry, Shay, not to be a dick. We had a medical episode a couple weeks ago, but it was
Yes, I did.
It was a super small venue. So like it was immediate response. You could get him in. We got him out within a fucking minute, right?
To be clear, he's talking about I experienced what I believe is medically called heat syncope, which is basically I just fainted. I just dropped straight like a rock at the show. I had the closest thing I'd had to hydration that night was a couple of whiskeys and Diet Coke. I hadn't eaten much. Class, as a nurse, you're nodding your head. You're going, yeah, that sounds about right, dummy. So I hadn't drank enough or enough water, to be clear, and I just dropped like a light. And
but like
thankfully,
we didn't have to think about a response.
Yeah.
Like we were there, and like people were already there on top of us. Like Billy is now playing at arena shows, right? So like at some of or even at like festivals. So like, are you shouting? Like, is there a proper method for asking for a medic? Like, the only time I ever like have, to be perfectly honest, have noticed the medical tent is like when you walk by Red Rocks. It's literally like an open door by one of the best bathrooms on the lower level. And I think it's terrible because it's like, okay, if all these people are like too spun out or too messed up, they have like a galaxy tapestry on the wall with like spinning stars. And I'm like, you guys, if somebody's going a little too hard, like the last thing they need to be doing is like, here, sit on this bench in this like galaxy. Or like at renewal, they have like the brightest lights along the porta potties. So I'm always like, I know where the porta potties are because there's the med tent right there. But like, is there a proper way to ask for medical, or are you just shouting? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, I think like asking any of the staff there with a walkie-talkie, like, we need some medical attention here, please get it. In some instances, I've seen it take like 15 minutes. At Dark Star, like right after this idea was thought of, my husband and I went to a Dark Star Orchestra show in Chicago, and they stopped the concert because somebody had passed out and they needed medical attention. So I went down to the floor where it was, and I was on like the third floor, and I had left my Narcan in my car, in my husband's backpack. I didn't bring the box in. And that's one of the reasons we started with the lanyards, because it's easy grab and have it on you. But nobody in that venue had Narcan at all. No security guards, no person had it. So, and then I was asking all of the staff, all the security and everything at the venue. And it took 15 minutes for the guy to get taken out, and the paramedics to get them on the gurney and everything.
I
It was
wonder,
really
I wonder if
intense.
it's something that they even like test for or like grade or evaluate, right? Like, what's a medical response time in a music venue?
Yeah, right.
Right, like, and you don't think about that stuff until it's too late, right? Like until you need to know, like, why the fuck did this take 14 minutes for you to get over here, or whatever it may be. It's crazy how some of these things don't come to light until it's already like a problem, right? and
Yeah.
and I think that's the thing with like fentanyl and like overdoses, is so many people are like, these are only with traditional drugs, right? Like, this is what this is. And so you guys also offer like testing, right?
Yeah, well, test them, but we'll give them test strips.
Yeah, so you don't do it themselves, right? You give them a little packet and then they have to do it. And that's what I wanted to talk about. Was, I don't know if you guys remember, there was a lady, I think it was in the Midwest in Ohio or something, that was at a festival, and somebody was a vigilante on the internet. No way. No way, right? But they tested some, I think it was ecstasy that they had bought from this lady, and they said that it was, or maybe it was, I don't know what it was, but it was either Molly or pill or something. But they had tested it, and they said that it had tested positive for fentanyl. So then they blasted this woman on Facebook in multiple groups, and she was eventually arrested at that show. And then what happened was, is the police tested it after they had arrested her, and they found that I'm pretty sure they found that there wasn't fentanyl in it at all. And somebody in either the Reddit or a Facebook group thread had said that actually some of these different drugs and the testing for it, if you don't follow a certain procedure the exact right way, you can get false positives, correct?
Definitely. Yeah, some of the tests are better than others also.
And so what does that kind of look like? Because like, I mean, again, for like, I don't know, right? So like, is it because like all of us are going to go back to what we do know, which is like cops episodes, right? So they like put a little bit in the vial and like crack it and shake it up. They're like, if it's blue, it's meth, right? And they're like, fucking got him, Florida. Like, god damn it. But for us with this, I know that ours is just like a strip, and it's kind of like a pH test, isn't it? Similar?
Yeah, it looks like a pH test, exactly. Like, some are different, so I think it's 2 lines. We do have instructions too, that because some of the dance safe ones are different than the other ones. 2 lines would be
I have a
positive.
question. Sorry, I'm a big mouth, as you can tell. Do you have any videos for us? Because like, to read some of these things or to like watch somebody do it, like, I know social media will cut down anything that has anything to do with certain words. So it is very hard to get through the algorithm when you use words like fentanyl or overdose. And it's actually kind of bullshit, because then it limits what the education is. But so like sometimes like reading like, I need to put in X amount of milligrams of water to X amount of milligram, or whatever the fuck it is, right? Like sometimes it's easier just to like doom scroll into this video and watch it. So do you guys have any videos? Because if not, we're going to partner. We're going to make some shit.
Oh, that would be awesome. We don't have videos, but I would love, we actually talked about doing like some education videos, but we haven't done it yet. We have a couple. I made a slideshow on how to reverse an overdose, just like a slideshow on it to have.
Is that like using the Narcan? And just
Yeah,
so people know, like the Narcan, like if you are used to like vapes, like tobacco
It's a little
vapes,
guy.
it's tiny. It's like a third of the size of like one of those. What are the ones, all the elf bars or whatever?
Elf
The
bars, yeah.
the elf bars. It's like a third of the size of the elf bars, you hipsters. Okay, so you can have this. They put them on lanyards. I don't give a shit how you carry it around. Just have it, because do you guys have any idea how prevalent some of these overdoses? I feel like it was something that none of us talked about, and then in the last couple of years, it is fucking everywhere.
it's so far, like we have heard that we've saved like 14 people, and that's just that have gotten back to us. And in 2024 we gave away like 1,700 Narcan and about 2,000 test.
That's crazy. So you guys are doing this all through donations, but I did some digging and I saw that you're also accepting artwork for a coloring book.
Oh yeah.
Can you talk to me a little bit about that?
That's awesome.
Listen, I will find every dark corner of the internet. I will scroll forever to find what I need to, okay? And it's been like almost a year, Jillian. I know that you just posted recently of some recent photos, but like, let's promote this. Let's see if we can get some more images. What is it? What the hell? What's going on?
So we're going to try to put a coloring book together. It could be like fish, dead, Billy, what Narcan related, just child friendly, of course, because we want children to be able to color. And we're going to try to raise money with that, and we can have it at the booth. And then if someone wants to give like a $20 donation, we could give them a coloring book or whatever. I'm not sure the exact money, but we're trying at the stage of where we're going to collect the images. We need like 5 left. So
That's awesome.
we have,
So we got to get a couple more graphic designers. I'll reach out to some people and see if they want to put something in there. That'll be fun. But so with this, let's talk about it. So are you guys, you just said setting up at the show. So are you guys going in shakedown? Are you in the actual venues? Where would somebody come to find you on tour?
So right now we're on the shakedown. Originally, we would love to get in the venue. We have not had that luck yet, but
Is there some government bureaucracy bullshit? Have you tried to get in?
I think it's state by state.
Yeah, and you have to go venue by venue, actually, right? So it's not even dealing with the individual team. Like if you were to partner with Billy, you now have to go to each venue that they're going to go down. Have you guys tried to talk to people, or is it just like beyond fucked?
well, we've talked a little bit, but we haven't made leeway. So we've been setting up at like the pre-parties or on the lot. If we ended up being able to, find the right people to talk to, I had called a couple of the venues. The first show we went to was in Nashville at the Bridgestone, and they told me I couldn't have the wagon on the property with the Narcan in it. So I went across the
Do you think that's part of the stigma?
It could, yeah, I really do think. But some security is like, thank you so much. Like this is really needed. And
But
they
you
see,
guys, you were at Renewal, right?
yeah, I was set up. We had a setup in the campground.
Okay, and so I don't know. I'm pretty sure Jillian, you sent me the same article that Shay had sent me earlier,
Yeah.
where they're talking about potentially not having renewal or coming back within a couple of years under a different iteration or whatever. But then they also talked about something that I was surprised about, where they said that there's 10 overdoses.
I had not heard about that. That was
I-
wild to me.
Yeah, I hadn't either, but that was, that the medics took care of, which we also, I mean, if the medics had 10, then how many others were there that our assistants could have or did help with? That's a lot. 10 is a lot.
Well, and that's what I was super surprised, because I mean, realistically, it's only like 2.5 days, right? Like
Yeah,
3 days tops. It's not, and it's not like but when they said 10, I was like, Jesus Christ, because you got to think about that. That's like, okay, that's like 3.5 a day, right? So like, even if like when, because the scene gets freaked out, right? Like when they hear about like one, then that's usually when people are like, oh, I got to find somebody to test my shit, or oh, I got to do this, right? Because like the first domino has already fallen. But when I read that there's 10, I was like, Jesus Christ, I didn't even know. Because what I was saying before is Shay and I, so now that when we go and do live shows, we will have a camping chair with a bag with Narcan and testing strips. It was given to us and we just donated out. People, man, I was coming through renewal and I had that bag in my frunk when you were doing like the security. And he's like, what's all this for? And was like super salty at first. And then I explained to him like who I was and what I did. But I told him, I was like, no, man, like this is what we're about. We're just trying to help. And he was totally fucking cool. But it's weird how it's not accepted. And it's like, how many people are we going to let fucking die? I know that there was just a mother-son overdose that recently happened in the Billy scene. It's fucking tragic.
I didn't hear.
It is tragic. And so what I was asking Shay and trying to figure out before is like, what can we do? How can we help? What is Healing the Herd's goal? Because the other thing that I wanted to talk about is it's not just fentanyl and testing strips, right? You guys were already saying that, hey, Plan B and condoms, like you're trying to help heal the herd in more than
just we also give snacks and water and free hugs and just kindness. We've done safe space at a festival, and it was actually what was known as summer camp for years that they changed their name to Soulshine. It helped with the safe space tent, like if people took too much too fast and needed somewhere to go but didn't need medical attention, they had like a safe place to go be spun out. That is a goal of ours that was on the original business plan, and we got to experience it. It would be, we really just want to help, and we're a grassroots organization, so it's all like.
So is it volunteers? Like, how do you guys go? And because, like, what shows are you trying to go on? If you're setting up in Shakedown, are the volunteers going to the shows? Are they buying their own tickets and then volunteering their time before? What does some of the structure look like for the organization?
Yeah, right now it's all like funded. Like if the volunteer was going to the show, they would buy their own ticket. I had an extra ticket here or there and was able to give one away, but it is really, there's no, we don't get tickets for the shows at all. It's all kind of self-pay, but then we could meet and set up at the lot or the pre-parties, and then they go into the show after. It's just kind of before, and then
really it's about
hearing
building
it and looking out at the show too, because that's half of it. Like just being aware of your surroundings, making sure people are okay. Are there people passing out? Maybe they need water. Like does somebody need this? Yeah.
And that's why, like, you guys are literally just building a community. Because I think sometimes the perception of people that are doing this are like, all those fucking people are just trying to get a free tour, right? So they're just trying to give stuff away so that they get a free show and go do this and that. And it's like, no, you fucking clowns. They pay their own way. They're doing this out of the goodness of their heart. Like, quit being such a spiteful dickhead and help, right? But like, the internet is full of terrible people. But so, like, if somebody wanted to advocate, like, what types of shows are you guys going to? And then how would they reach out to you? And do you have to have medical experience to sit at the booth?
You don't have to have medical experience. We're going to like festivals. We're going to fish. Billy and we were at a few of the Sphere shows for the Forever Dead at like the pre-party there. We didn't have a booth. We just walked around and handed out lanyards. And then they can reach out. We have a Facebook. We're working on a website that should be up and running soon. And then we also have we're going to go live with the Sign Up Genius that one of our board members created for all the shows. So people could, for the Billy tour, people could log on and sign up if they want to volunteer. And then we'd have like a point person and get the supplies to them, and then they could set up and kind of, we have some stickers, we have some brochures of how to administer, and they can set up. Some of the ladies went to the Baltimore run and did the pre-party there, so that looked really fun. And it was inside a venue, so that was nice too because the weather wasn't great.
Yeah,
But yeah,
that was the brewery on Friday.
yeah,
Yeah.
and the second year we were there, so that's kind of cool about that too.
So then what else are you guys advocating for? Because like obviously when they go and look at some of your literature online, or even like the promotion of mental health and like awareness and self-care on your guys' Facebook group, I want people to really understand that you guys are trying to be the light in the community that you're looking for, right? So like what are some of these other things that people can come and connect with people for? Because in this day and age, it's hard to meet people, and a lot of us love our music and our community so much because it's easy for us to like melt in there, and now this is a way for them to kind of like melt out into something else. So what else can they attach with?
Yeah, we also raise awareness about like mental health and suicide as well, and just, having like the earth, and making sure people pick up their balloons and don't trash the venues and everything with if there's a lot of nitrous there. Just do your part.
I
And
hate that shit. Sorry, that's a pet peeve of mine. When you're leaving the festival and it looks like someone set off a confetti cannon, except it's just popped balloons as far as the eye can see. It's infuriating.
I mean,
yeah.
I will say that my favorite thing, and I know, Shay, that you've been there when I do it, my favorite thing to do when I'm walking out of any show is
Yeah.
going and watching the heads whip around, being like, "Man,
That's dirty, and
nitrous
it's funny every single time.
Yeah, and it is, but like it is awful. I took pictures at fish dicks. It's like it's insane. It is insane, and we have to be better, right? Like I think it's kind of funny because like hippies and counterculture created in the '60s was so different. And now here we are, 60 years later, multiple generations later, right? Like it's a different ideology of being what a hippie is, but I think that there's still really strong souls in the community that can help advocate for what this should be. That shit is not what it should be. Now, I don't give a fuck about you taking ice cold fatties and flopping out. Like, all right, that's cool. But when you fucking wake back up, put the balloon in your pocket and fucking walk away, okay? Like, it's kind of embarrassing. But for the mental health thing, I think this is something that has come up for us so many times. And I think it's so important because it was so stigmatized, kind of like this fentanyl thing is, for so long that people didn't know how to talk about it, right? Like they didn't know how to say, fuck, I'm anxious. I can't go to a show and be around people, right? Well, maybe you can meet people outside, right? And then like slowly expose yourself into like coming in. So like I have loved, like you guys have even some quotes and stuff in your Facebook group. And what is the Facebook group?
It's Healing the Herd. It's like 33ling the Herd, HERD, and it's there. We have a group and also a page. So the group is more interactive. We do like weekly posts, check in. We have a Friday music post, so people could share whatever they're listening to.
Well, there was
And
a solid one recently that was like, hey, leave some advice, right? Or something like that, or take some advice if you need it. And then
yeah,
people just kind of dump in and go there. And like, it's really a great way for people to kind of expose themselves without exposing themselves. I think that a lot of them hide on Reddit because then they don't actually have to have their name and face.
right.
And it can be like Royal Sniffer, and then they can say whatever they want, right? In case anybody is wondering, mine is fuck those chairs, and everyone's like, "You fucking chair guy, you made your name fuck those chairs." Like, how important do you think you are? I was like, "No, you fucking idiots! I just didn't want you to see what I was actually looking up on Reddit on my real fucking username. So this is just how we're gonna do this now, right?" But I think it's awesome that you guys are trying to build this community. What I want to figure out is how do we help you? What is it that you guys need? What's your next goal? Where are you guys trying to be? You're 2 years in, right? So
Mm-hmm.
where do we want to be in 2 years? What is it that you ladies are
Yes.
looking for?
That's what we'll talk about. Like our board, I mean, we've grown so fast in the last 2 years. I'm just amazed by how much we've been able to do and make a difference. I just like want to keep continuing on helping and making a difference and saving lives, I think that's so important. We're going to try to get a QR code on the Narcan lanyard. So if it has to be used, people could let us know and we could kind of keep a little bit of data on it. We'd like to get some grants if we can. We'd like to really, really go further and focus on it more. It's a real passion project right now. We all have other jobs and careers and lives and everything too. I would love to just help more people, and it'd be really cool to be in renewal one year if they do renewal again. That would be great, to have like a little booth in a safe place. If they would allow that, would be great.
Jilly,
What do
is
you
there anything that you were looking for? Yeah.
Yes.
Who? You? Little old me? No. Are
I
you
just really
guys
want to
doing?
follow up with that real quick because, I'm somebody who, I've struggled with depression and things like that throughout my life. And like, you talk about the harm reduction, and just to anybody out there that's listening and thinking like, oh, nobody cares about what happens to me, it doesn't matter. That's not true. I guarantee you there's somebody. Talk to somebody. Mental health is not your fault, but it is your responsibility. So if you're having these problems, just ask a friend, talk to somebody, bring it up, because it's one of those things that won't get better unless you talk about it, and
What
it's not
I
something you should be ashamed to talk about either.
what I always tell people is we can't read your mind, right?
No,
So
no,
it's really really hard, and sometimes you can see those outward emotions where you can pick up that something is wrong, but other people are really good at hiding it, right? And some people don't want to be vulnerable and don't want to do that, and that was actually one of the questions I was going to ask is, do you guys have some sort of hotline, or can they reach out to you, or when someone is feeling a certain way, do you have a resource that you're directing them to, or what does that kind of look like?
Yes. Yeah, please go ahead. No, you go ahead, please.
Okay, so when you guys are going out and giving out your and the lanyards have the healing the herd on it as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's what you guys are doing, the Narcan, and you're giving out stickers. That's awesome. Do you guys have any merch or hats or anything else to help advocate and get your name out into the scene, or how can people support you? Do you guys have like, I mean, shit, we've just been raising money for weeks now, Shay. Why not just help one more, right?
yeah.
Like, is there somewhere that we can send people to help support you guys? Do you have, like, I know you're a 501c3, right? But do you have any campaigns, or is there anything that you guys are currently raising funds for? Do you accept funds just in general, or what does that look like?
We do accept funds. We have like a QR Facebook code for PayPal. It's like a donation. We're signed up through that so people could donate that way. We also have made some hats and made some pins in the past to give away for donation as well. Have done a couple raffles. Renewal gave us they gave us 2 tickets, and we did a waffle on Facebook and raised some funds there. We're working on getting the website together. And we're also, working on like figuring out if who's going to volunteer at what shows, for the winter tour and all of that right now.
So is that kind of your biggest ask currently, is with these upcoming shows, finding volunteers to come? I know that you were talking about having the mask for CPR. Is there somewhere that you would suggest that they can get CPR training? And do they have to have CPR training to volunteer, or does that not really matter?
You don't they have CPR training to volunteer. Mostly a lot of bystanders are trained in CPR. So if they don't know it, they can always say, "Hey, do you know CPR?" Get someone, usually the medics in the festival grounds, or the ones at the concerts do know CPR. But you don't have to know CPR to help or volunteer. We can teach you how to administer the Narcan and kind of the protocol for doing that, and what else is the next step, to call 911, definitely, because we're under the Good Samaritan Act. So, and since it can't harm someone if they're not having an overdose when they're getting administered, it is kind of an umbrella. It won't hurt them anyway. So even if they're not having an overdose, we can still give it and it won't hurt them. So we're protected under that Good Samaritan Act law, though.
So will you do me a favor and kind of just for like the quick snippet, right? And this is the one that we can cut down into our Instagram reel, is what are the 5 biggest common misconceptions when it comes to Narcan and when it comes to fentanyl and use in a music scene?
Oh my goodness. The 5.
Yes, Jillian. Jill, phone a friend. Let's go. So we need a new motto that's like, Narcan is for your friend. Because like people don't understand, like this isn't for you, this is about taking care of the people in the community. And for you to have something in your pocket or on a lanyard, in your show purse, whatever the fuck it is, look, you don't even actually have to administer it yourself. There's probably some other brave soul around that just fucking needs it. And the fact that you can bring it and have it in your pocket, that could save someone's life, right?
Right.
You don't need to fucking tell me. This kid gave me a heart attack because when he went out, it was like light out. And I'm sorry that I keep doing this to you, Shay, but you fucked me up.
You're not.
You fucked me up mentally, bro. I was literally slapping this big fuck on the ground and there's like no response whatsoever. And I'm literally thinking like, is he going to die in my arms? And then a second later, he's like, I'm just hot. I need to get out of here. I was like,
Yeah.
what the fuck? But like the whole next day, my wife was like, why do you, and like I just kept reliving those moments of like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah.
So I definitely believe like that's true, right? Like the ripple effect of what happens in that community. But also like think about the positive ripple effect of saving someone's fucking life, right? Because now you come back and you're like, hey, I was at this show. Somebody got super fucked up, went out. These amazing people came out of nowhere, flocked around him, fucking saved him or her, got up and on to the next one, right?
Yeah.
Like but I think what we need to do is we need to come together. And so we need to educate. All right, let's go through this as a team. So 5 common misconceptions about Narcan or fentanyl. I would say that fentanyl can be found in any drug, essentially, right? Yes. So for people thinking like, oh, I don't take opiates, that's not for me. Well, guess what? Narcan can be in anything. Narcan or fentanyl can be in anything. Narcan is not for yourself.
Yes.
Okay?
Not for yourself. That's the big one.
When you're passed out, do you think you can go in your pocket and fucking give yourself a nasal spray and then come back to life? No, you have to fucking rely on somebody else, right? Number 3 is it will not have adverse effects on anyone who is not using an opiate, correct?
Right. Yeah. And
So-
then number 4 is also you won't get in trouble. That's a lot of people's worry. They think they're going to get arrested or something, like if the person has drugs on them, but they won't get in trouble or arrested for helping because of the Good Samaritan Act.
That's beautiful. All right. So what I want to talk about is what is it that you would tell our community? What do you want them to hear?
I just am so excited, honestly, for all of everything we've done so far. And I can't wait to see what the future holds. I'm really humbled by the support of all of our volunteers on the East Coast, the West Coast, the South, and the North. And, we have like so many people willing to step up. I think that's just really awesome. And I cannot wait to see what we do next. I really am hoping to get into some festivals, get in on bigger bills. We will be at Ice Dance and it's in Appleton, Wisconsin. So that's like leftover salmon, armchair boogie.
Ooh.
we'll be up there, and we're gonna, hopefully we'll do another safe space. I really would
Well,
like to see that go.
we would love to help from the poster line of Ball Arena.
Yep,
Um,
yep.
if there's anything that we can do in this Denver shows, please let us know. We'd love to help advocate for you guys. We think that it's so cool. Is there any help that you need from a person? You said you're working on a website. Do you need a website designer? Is there somebody from like grant writing? Because you said you're trying to get into grants.
Yeah,
let's reach out to the community and get in front of some of these people, because like when we were doing the stuff that we were doing for the nonprofit that we created in 3 weeks, which I would never fucking tell anyone to do, but hey, we fucking did it.
It worked out.
We had so many great people come and be like, oh, I do X, Y, and Z, or oh, I do this. So what are you guys looking for? Let's try to connect you with some other great souls that we can continue to heal the hurt.
That would be great. Yeah, we are looking for grant writers, and also, people who just want to help and do something more. We'll have committees like the volunteer committee. We have a committee who's on the ground that works with the volunteers more, connecting them. So even if you have like a talent, and want to donate the time or whatnot, like if you want to meet us up at a show and just help us volunteer, that would be awesome too. But yes, we definitely are looking for grant writers and venue promoter.
Okay, so we need to get and then this is the fucked up thing, learning from the Mishawaka, like independent venues versus like Live Nation venues, right? And like the bullshit and red tape that you have to go through from one to the other. But I think that once you guys have, we continue to show your proof of concept, right? And like what's needed, showing people how important this can be, right? Like I think that it'll be much easier for you. But think about how adverse it was during the AIDS pandemic, right? And like now look at where we're at today with that, right? And so hopefully down the road we can look at it. Let's not lose our brothers and sisters in that time, right? Let's take care of each other. Let's make sure that we can find out a way to make this work. Grant writers are so important. And I fucking know that it is a huge pain in the ass, but I also know that we have lots of smart friends, right? So if you guys are interested in even helping them out a little bit, please reach out to Jillian or Jilly. Let's talk about where they can find you. So Healing the Herd, but remember it's 33. So 3ling the Herd, Herd for you real wooks. You can find them on a Facebook page as well as a Facebook group. There is a Healing the Herd Wix page currently up now, but you guys are getting something else built soon?
Yeah, we're working on a website right now, and we also have an Instagram account too.
Let me guess. Healing the Herd?
Yes, it is Healing the Herd.
Good branding. Let's go.
Yes, thanks.
Can't slip anything past you, buddy.
I feel like that was a slight. Okay.
No.
That wasn't very nice. So is there anything else, like, as we wrap this up, ladies, is there anything else that you would like to talk about, you would like to ask, something that maybe you're grateful for, or someone you want to give a shout out to?
Oh, that's a good thing. Do you want to go ahead, Jilly? Yeah. That's great. Yeah, everyone, who carries, really, thank you. And just everyone who has like not thought that we're doing this for ulterior motives. We just want to help. We've helped so many people and like have support all over the globe. So it's really cool when we can come together, what we can really do, in the community. So just thank you everyone for all the support, and thank you for meeting us today too and talking with us. I really am super excited about it.
It has been great.
Yeah, no.
I want to say real quick, I want to thank both of you because, a little bit of background. I grew up in West Virginia. I was in college in the early 2000s when the pill mills and all that stuff was really going strong with OxyContin in Florida and the rural towns in West Virginia. So I am no stranger to losing a friend to an overdose. 10, 20 years ago, the Narcan wasn't an option. So, I just want to thank you guys for what you're doing because, I personally have lost a lot of really close friends to this shit. So it means a lot, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm sorry for your loss. Yeah, it's really West Virginia is one of the states that have like the biggest percentage of losses, which is
Well, and
sad.
that's why we're coming together. Because even if we can save one person, right? Even if it's one person, and that person may think that they don't even deserve to be saved, which is bullshit because you do. And we're telling you right now that we care about you, right? What we're telling the rest of the community is, yes, I'm going to fucking tell you what to do. Carry some Narcan. Make sure that it's part of your kit so that you're bringing it out because it's not for you, it's for somebody else. And if you were to need it, think about how grateful you would be to that person who did bring it, right?
Right.
Be the change that you want to be. We have a beautiful community. We continue to show that week after week. And I am so grateful for you guys to come in and tell your story. And I really appreciate you taking the time. And we'll see you at Ball Arena.
Absolutely.
Sweet. Well,
Awesome.
have a good rest of your night. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you guys so much.
Bye.
Good night. Bye. I can't figure it
Jillian
out.
still on there.
I can't figure it out. I'm sorry.
It's
I'm
okay.
I am not
Get you out of here
computer
anyways.
savvy. I'm trying. It
Here,
doesn't
I'm
have
gonna
a
go to you. Bye, Jillian.
bye.
She go.
That's
She go.
that's awesome.
Bye, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia.
Yeah,
Oh,
bro.
man.
It was so crazy because when I was reading about them, fucking internet trolls, right? They're like, these people just do this so that they can get free tickets and go on, and this is how they fund their tour and blah, blah.
That is such bullshit. Like, get over yourself, dude. Like, come on now. Like, that's
people, man. Fucking people. But I still want to save you, even if you're the guy fucking.
Yeah. All right, here you go.
Yeah, I'm still gonna give my Narcan.
I'm gonna bring you back so that you can figure out how to be less of a douchebag moving forward.
Yes, please. Can we do that together from now on?
Oh God, that's great.
God damn it.
That's funny, man. I got to tell you about what happened at the Kitchen Dwellers because
yes, fucking Karen here.
I think it almost killed Tyler. It was so funny. So we're in line for the coat check at the end of the night. Everybody's going home.
Oh, I just blasted right by you guys.
Oh, you were like, I'm out.
Yeah,
and
I didn't
this
even
guy
say
behind
goodbye.
me. This dude behind us I think his name was CJ or TJ, I can't remember, but, just going through just bullshitting about music and stuff, he brings up Magoo, and I was like, oh, I fucking love Magoo, and then he was like, oh, it's weird, I went to grad school with the girlfriend of the dobro player, and I was like, oh, you mean Becca? Funny you should say that. My friend Kate also went to grad school with her, and then it turns out that TJ knew Kate, and we'd like, oh, that's small world. The scene is weird. Everybody knows each other. And then he made some awesome joke, and I was like, that's awesome, ha ha ha. And then I went to fist bump him, and he just ignored it. And it really looked like he was just ignoring it, and I let it hang out there, and I was like, joking, like, hey man, you're not gonna dap me, like that's rude. And he looks at me and goes, I'm sorry, bro. I'm mostly blind and completely blind in that eye. I can't see your fist bump. And then Tyler immediately falls to the ground laughing. And I'm just standing there. And then this guy's apologizing to me for being blind in one eye.
Because you're in this fucking blind zone where he just can't see this fucking hanging
asteroid.
And you called him out on it because you're a dick.
I was like, what are you doing, bro? And he's like, oh, I'm sorry. I can't see.
Dude, that's so bad.
Tyler finally stands up, and he's just got tears streaming down his face. It was incredible.
That's so fucking.
It was funny because that guy apologized to me for not being able to see, and I was like, oh well.
Sorry for being disabled.
Sorry, bro. And I was like, well, I'm just gonna get my coat and go home because see you guys later, dude.
Wow, you're a fucking dick, buddy.
Oh, it was funny.
Wow.
Good times.
So I feel like Jillian and the Herd is pretty dope. I hope that some people will take a listen and get shit done.
Yeah, they say that I actually had.
Bro,
I need to get more Narcan to like carry with me at shows.
I have some in my garage.
Oh, I know. We had a bunch here at the house that at parties we would just have in a bowl at the center of the house, but it's all expired, so we tossed it.
Dude, you just gotta do the good drugs.